Present.
Dana Minus,
Present.
Alan Franken. Chairman Toya. Present. Thank you, Chairman. We have a quorum. Okay, we're going to pretend we have an invisible flag.
Okay.
So we're everybody look at the leaders and
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
approval of the agenda.
I move that we approve the agenda as written.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Seeing none, we move forward. Approval of minutes. April 15th, 2024. All right, thank you very much. You're welcome.
There he is.
Oh, this is crazy.
Found us.
Yeah, this is cozy. Let the record show that Mr. Franklin is a minute late.
I went to the other, I was on time to the other side.
No, you just-
All right,
note
not
that it-
my pay.
note that it's- let the record know that it's from zero.
That's where we are.
We're approval of the minutes, Mr. Franklin. Of April 15th, 2024.
I make a motion to accept.
You have a second?
I'll second that.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Seeing none, motion passes. Other people, do we have any? No, sir. Okay, items of discussion. Letter A, April 2024 finance report, Mr. Dupree.
You have in front of you the legal report. There's a couple of things that I want to talk about. As far as revenues in general, in the general fund, we are pretty much on track. In most cases, we're ahead. These revenues are not as seasonal as our enterprise funds. The enterprise funds are a little bit different. And there's really no exceptions to note there in the general fund revenues. On the expenditure side, we have a lot of savings. They are mainly vacancy savings. And one thing that we are going to have to consider, I discussed with the manager this morning, is if we had all of our positions full, would we be in the red or in the black? So that's something that we're going to have to discuss before we present the fiscal year 25 budget to all of you. So you'll be aware of that. In the current year, we're fine.
Mr. Madrid, so would it help if mayor and council would go through that list of vacant positions and maybe determine if all of them are needed since they've been vacant for such a long time?
Well, I did have a preliminary discussion with the manager, and that's probably something that the manager should do, not the governing body. But he should recommend, well, if one's been vacant for 3 years, maybe we don't need it. If it's been vacant for 3 months, then we should probably keep it. So those are the kind of things.
But in order to eliminate those positions, you do have to go through negotiations to get them off. That was my understanding when I talked to Tasha when she was here, the last finance director.
Generally, yes.
Yes.
Yes. And, that sometimes that is part of negotiations to pay for any increases that they want to get.
Right.
Okay, well, you want 10%. Well, let's sacrifice some positions here to pay for that because, it should be a zero impact on the budget if possible.
Right. Do you have any idea where you would want to reallocate those funds?
Well, no. No.
How about a increase to the staff? I know 25 cents, but when I get 25 cents, I think that 25 cents isn't much.
I know, who's taking up the
But-
slack for these vacancies?
But Mr. Madrid, did you say that you fill them, we're gonna be in the red, so there may not be money to
Oh, no, I
reallocate.
don't think that we're going to be. We need to find out whether we would be hypothetically if next year we filled all the vacancies. Obviously, we're not gonna have them all full before October, November. But if we did, where would that put us?
Where are the big holes in services? That still police?
Police and utilities. Yeah.
Fire.
And fire, I think they're starting to fill, but, again, you know, as you said, if they've been vacant for so long, do we really need them? And some of them, I'm not familiar enough with the individual departments
Right.
to know, but I think those ideas are already out there.
From what we've been hearing, the finance different, committees that the savings has always been in the salaries.
And typically it is
Right.
everywhere.
Yeah.
And, you know, we normally have a vacancy rate of 8 to 12% in any organization. But in some cases, we have vacancy rates of 30%. And that's just, that shouldn't be that way.
Do you anticipate, weird question, do you anticipate that to get worse? Now that I've heard, we have the Calf Canyon, Hermit's Peak got a big settlement syndrome where people are quitting. And because they got a big settlement from FEMA, do you anticipate you're gonna have even people quitting the city? And you'll have even more vacancies and a harder time trying to fill the ones you have. Do you anticipate that at all?
No.
Okay.
I haven't seen anything to point to that, but, it may be a consideration. Generally, the people that are gonna get bigger settlements are people with the bigger assets. And our employees generally aren't in that category.
Okay. The reason I brought it up was I had a conversation with the police chief, I don't know, 2 or 3 days ago or something like that. And he was talking about the fact that they started to see a ton of brand new big pickup trucks with the dealer stickers on them. And I don't know, and I had heard from a few other people that they actually had people that had quit their organization when they got settlement. And I didn't know if that was going to be a rampant problem or what, but apparently not.
I hope not.
Yeah.
Where I've seen it has been with employers who are not good employers. Their employees are looking to get out anyway. They don't like working for them. They pay them under the table. They don't have good benefits, and somebody would be very reluctant for a $80,000 claim or whatever it's going to be for a smoke claim to quit a good city job. No, I don't.
Okay.
Yeah, claims don't provide benefits, and that's really where
Yeah.
employees work here.
Yeah.
Is the benefits.
The benefits.
It's not the pay, it's the benefits. You know that.
Health insurance.
Or
Retirees that are ready to retire, and this will give them
Yeah.
the kick to get out, yeah.
Yeah, they may buy time if they're.
Man, give them a pay raise.
I have-
I hear a quarter every year, so I just say, how can you retain your employees if it boost their morale?
Let's have a service.
I have one more question on the general fund. What is the cash carry forward in that fund from previous years that could be available for, in general, one-time kind of a thing? Projects there.
We have our, this year starting summers in here. I can tell you what it was July 23. We don't know what it is yet for July of 24.
Well, looking at the audit report
Uh-huh.
on page 11, I pulled a number that was 7.3 million. Does that sound about right? Okay. So if I were to do the simple math, that means that there was 7.3 in the general fund to start with at the beginning of the fiscal year. Now there's a little over 2 more million in surplus. So does that mean there's 9.3 million available that could be spent in the general fund?
No, because we have encumbrances and obligations and payroll and a lot of expenditures that still need to be paid against that. Although we're going to have collections against it, that's not a solid number for the end of the year.
Okay, my guess though is that there's a fair amount of money in the general fund. That
Fair
if,
amount of money is objective.
well, I think it's actually 9.3 million, actually. Because if I look at the audit report, I see that number at the beginning, and then, under fund balances, I see that a lot of it, if not right about 7.3 million is unrestricted, unencumbered at the beginning of this fiscal year. So my guess is that there's somewhere around $9.3 million available in the general fund that could be spent.
Or invested.
Even if they have 5, okay. I want to go, low. Even if they did have the, you know. I'm still going back to.
Yeah.
An increase for
Right.
salaries to
Right.
3%, 5%, if you did have that 5.
And that's a good point, because
Yeah.
we have to be able to separate recurring versus non-recurring.
Yes.
And
Yes.
if we spent the non-recurring, then we don't have money for recurring.
Mhm.
If we commit too much recurring, then we end up in deficit in future years.
Yes.
So,
But the trend has been for this last few years that there's just a lot of money.
the
Everywhere it
gross
seems
receipts
like.
have been healthy,
It
property
just
taxes have
seems
been healthy, they have been
There
healthy.
has been.
And the other side to
Doesn't seem
that
to go
is,
away.
it looks like the departments have not been spending at their normal rates probably because a lot due to turnover.
Turnover.
Yeah.
They don't
So
know what to do with it.
That's gonna change, I'm sure. It needs to, because, if you look at our infrastructure and our staffing, those two things alone, spending is gonna go up on both. It has to.
It's a lack of leadership. But, in there is included is, also the retirees, no? Like, you gotta look at people that are, for their pensions and that are retiring.
Well, as they go out the door,
Yeah.
their final checks, their vacation, yes. Their retirement is not paid by us, but their leave is.
Yeah, but that would be a savings. In a sense, if it stays vacant, the position.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or if you hire somebody at a lower level, because the
Exactly.
people that are exiting are
Well,
probably at a higher level.
So
So you're gonna bring someone else with less experience to do what
Yes.
that person is doing.
Mhm.
But most of the time, 85% of your budget is on salaries and benefits.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
So a 5% increase in pay is how many dollars?
it have-
I have
Any
no
rough
idea.
idea? Okay.
whoever put the budget together would probably.
Well, and
Last
those discussions are being had with union negotiations,
Yes.
because, they're not all treated the same. So they'll be by bargaining unit, I guess. Is Luna bargaining unit? They're not. So we may have different percentages for different unions.
That's a real pain, that's for sure.
Yep. Yeah.
Everybody's straightforward. Takes a long
So-
time.
If we flip to the third page in the enterprise funds, if you compare actuals to budgeted amounts, you're gonna see in most cases we're way below. But the only concern that I have that I need to follow up on is, when you compare current year actuals revenues to current year actual expenditures, in wastewater, we're not keeping up. In wastewater, we've spent 2,668,000, but we've only brought in 2,550,000. So for the current year, that's a concern. All the other ones, revenues are coming in above actuals. Revenue expenditures is positive, but in that one, it isn't. And I need to find out why. Yes, it's on the chart. That's right. So,
And what you're presenting here for the enterprise fund is the sum of those four.
well, they're individually and they're summed.
Right.
Yeah, but the bottom line number is the sum of those.
Right.
which is, yeah, exactly. Okay.
So, for example, natural gas, the only thing that tells us is we had a warm winter. We overestimated revenues
64%.
and yeah, it's all based really on the cost of gas. So, but they are operating in the black. You go to the recreation center. So we're showing a deficit. It's mainly due to a program that hasn't started yet. Their summer program hasn't started. They'll probably generate another 30,000, which will get them close to even. They may have a small deficit, but that's one that is seasonal, and the fees won't come in probably until June in that one. Other than that, they opened the pool again, so those revenues should go up a little bit, and they're not significant, but the recreation department should come really close to what they estimated.
And does that fund, that's Fund 280, right, that you're reporting there? Does that have a prior year surplus of any kind? It's just brand new each year
Yes,
that you look at it,
it does.
and any deficit that occurs into it basically comes out of the general fund.
Yep.
Okay.
That's a fund you need to monitor carefully because you know it runs in the negative.
Yeah,
And then
and
you
that's
don't
one of
want
those.
to look at it and then audit season comes in.
And
So you have to just pay extra.
we need to make sure it's
attention
covered.
to it.
Gotta finish in the black. And the lodger's tax, historically and recently has been healthy, continues to be healthy. I think the only concern that I would have and I have not looked at yet is there is a 2-year reversion clause in the statute, which was suspended during COVID, but has since been released, and I'm not sure if any of those cash balances from 2 years prior are at risk in any way. I don't think so, because everything that's been spent can be allocated to those balances.
Where would that go, to the state, or does it go back to the lawyers?
To the state.
Take their money.
They'll go to the state.
We don't want that to happen.
So as of the beginning of this fiscal year, what is the cash balance in the lodger's tax fund?
That I don't have on this report.
The audit report says it was 1.2 million. Is that about right?
If the audit report says it, yes.
Right answer.
Right now, we're looking at 1,388,000. Yeah.
1,300,000. Yeah, that's about right. So is that the 1.2 part of that million?
Yes.
Is that the potentially in jeopardy, but you don't think it's in
No,
jeopardy because of
No, not the entire thing, because we've had at least 2 years of collections. So if anything, I think the collection has been, what, 600,000-700,000 a year. So if anything, maybe less than 100,000.
Got it. I see what you're saying. Okay, thank you.
And both the cannabis, just cannabis. This one we've just been collecting on, and I am unfamiliar with. So we're right now just accumulating cash. Is that right?
Sure, pretty much.
And what was the cash balance forward at the beginning of this fiscal year on that? The audit report shows 105,000. That sound about right?
Mm-hmm.
And so if you add the 105 to the 104 for this year, that you're plus, you're over 200,000 in that account.
Yeah.
That could be spent.
100,397 cash.
Say again,
201,397 right now.
okay.
Those funds would not have any reversion. Issues. Understood.
No. Those are
What is your intention?
for cannabis. That's why I said I'm not familiar with it. I don't know. I don't know. I don't even know what the restrictions are in the statute. I've never dealt with it. Anybody else know?
They tell you there's a lot of money out there that,
Yeah.
there's. We've lived in.
Been here 30 days,
Hasn't
Morris,
it?
come on.
Yeah. 32.
See?
I'll get it by 60.
I think cannabis, we can use it.
I think you're right.
It's the opioid that we have to use for medical, or for training, or for
Prevention.
assistance,
Like
prevention,
tobacco.
that kind of stuff.
And how much is in the opioid fund? Is that fund 287?
1.144. 1,144,000.
Wow.
Jeez.
An opioid?
Yeah, we
So long.
sees this huge chunk.
Really kind of
In
sad.
the right place.
Right, Chris?
Now, the audit report shows that it was 207, okay, at the beginning of the fiscal year. Has there been another payment come in for opioid?
Yes, sir. If you recall, a couple of months ago, I brought to Martin Council for 900 some odd thousand.
Yes, that's what I remember.
That's the one.
Yep.
Okay.
So that adds up to about right.
Is that due to Banderas' lawsuit against companies? That money that came in the listing?
I'm not sure.
That was a big thing, right?
Yeah.
With pharmaceutical company.
Right.
Does that one get taken away or?
So it's at 1.1 now?
1.44
Yes,
currently, as of this date, is in that fund.
that was on the December or January report that I brought to Bar, 918,000.
Okay. So it's a few months old.
Normally.
Yeah.
There's a lot out there.
Yeah.
The cannabis, hiring maybe a presenter to come in maybe 4 times a year. Have something at the Rec Center, invite all the youth. Have,
Prevention.
Yes, and prevention, give out whatever sustenance, have sustenance for the kids who want to be there. Like the way we did back in, 20 years ago with the safe and drug-free schools.
Yes.
Remember that program we
I
had?
remember. Even the police department had
Yes,
What
they
was
had
it
an
called?
officer.
a DARE program.
Yes,
The DARE program is based on that.
the kids did enjoy that.
If I may ask, did this all answer your guys' questions in reference to the miscellaneous revenue for general fund and
I was gonna ask you, what is that?
That's.
That's what you asked for.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but I,
This is very nice breakdown.
Yeah. it is.
Shows you just
Why
exactly.
did you send that?
it was attached to this.
That's the last page of
Last
this.
page.
Go to the last page.
That's why we have to have a miscellaneous category.
right? Yeah, catch up.
There's two. Some of them are big numbers, but this
Tell
one,
me this, do you ever try to clean
this
them
is,
up?
Yeah,
Because how many funds do you have there that have cash in them? And then you just continue to add to them. I just know that it's, you get new revenue that comes in and then you create an account for this. Then you gotta budget it and then you gotta spend it.
Right.
But do you ever clean it up? Do you ever try to eliminate so many of these?
Well, you know what? The elimination of them is kind of difficult.
Well, because
It's
it ties to,
Adding, right?
yeah, you have to make sure that it ties to whatever.
Right.
Or you just take 5 funds at a time and you just budget them on your next, your trap finance director.
Yeah.
Take 5 of them, budget them, and then you get some staff that that are aggressive and do know, to do something with them, of course. Oh, it's time consuming, it really is, but you could, it's, because some of these, let's say you've had these there for 10 years already. The money's just been sitting there. You know what I'm saying?
But like the one for the auction, that one's needs to be distributed through the different departments.
Yes.
The 30,000 there.
Unless it
There you
came
go.
out of,
You would have to budget it,
Right.
when it's budget season, that's the best time to do it,
right.
because that way it's taken care of that time.
It's just been in the recent years that started having auctions again, so we actually had to create those revenue accounts in different departments that actually never had revenue accounts. But whenever we're receiving the money, it's not an easy task to know where it came from at the moment, so when
And
it
the
comes
more
in.
time that goes by, the less you're gonna know.
Right.
Because now you get a new finance person.
Right.
You know, and
Or
so-
you leave and now nobody knows what this
Exactly.
was.
So where did it come from?
Yep.
Ankle monitor, $200.
So like what happens to those new court fees? 50,000
They get distributed.
again, between what
Between municipal court and PD.
and PD?
And there's some there that, these are part of the cash balance that you see in general fund. Some of them will be recurring, some of them won't. Like, one that stuck out to me was the insurance.
Coverage, you know.
Yeah. You know, a lot of that is.
Where is that?
It's.
101 what?
5105 is a line item. 379 through 2250. That's something that we really can't budget for next year, was kind of a bonus this year. But on the other side,
Is it on the current total, the 379?
yes. And on the other side, what you don't see on the good side here is the deductibles that we had to pay in those claims. So
Are these mostly state funds that are paying out to us, or it'll hurt our experience rating going forward as well?
it could be, I'm not sure whether they're liability claims or hail damage or it could be a lot of everything. Sewer backups.
Yeah.
Things like that.
US Marshal Service. House. It's 15,000.
And that's a good example of one where we show revenue for that, but we also have an expense that you don't see here. So we just brought it through inspection. So it grosses up both the revenues and expenses.
It's a good summary though.
Yeah, I just.
It's not too much trouble, it's nice to look at.
So
Been
Morris,
reported. I would say.
you made a statement earlier. So the 13.2, the right column bottom, that's in the cash on hand? Summary balances, is that what that means?
No,
I didn't think it was. Okay, all right. All right.
and that's basically the summary of where we are.
Good picture.
That will be going to council tomorrow, or Wednesday.
Yes.
It's time for a motion to approve the 2024 finance report.
So moved.
And I'll second it.
Those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, seeing none. We move on to letter B, is resolution 24-15 bar.
Okay, this resolution is typical at the end of the year. It's mainly to clean things up and put things in the budget that we didn't have at all or that we need to correct before the end of the year. And if you want, you can go through each item. You'll just see a combination of two things. Corrections of budgets that are in place, and then, for example, budgeting of things that we hadn't budgeted at all, or we hadn't budgeted adequately, we hadn't carried forward. The first one with DOT is carry forward amount that we hadn't budgeted. And if you're gonna spend it, it has to be in the budget. The FEMA project, that big cash. amount that
Yes,
we got
that's
in,
the one I had a question. What is that?
that one was the mayor's initiative at the last council meeting. Was it the last one, the one before? Where we had an opportunity to get an advance on our disaster declaration money and actually get the cash in the bank. And that's where that amount comes from. It's an advance from FEMA. that we
Now,
have
have
the
you-
authority to spend.
You haven't spent that amount?
We have not spent it.
Oh, you haven't?
It's in advance.
That comes from House Bill 6.
You know, I would, yeah,
Yeah,
I'm aware
$100
of that.
million that were appropriated
Yeah.
for schools and entities to use. They
Right.
were down to 30 million. We got 14 million of it to remove silt from the Guaymas River between Mills Avenue and Grand Avenue. And they're just downloading it in so we can spend it, and we'll have to go through RFP in the process.
Okay,
So these are basically, cleanups. If there's any particular questions, we can answer them.
Questions, I'll stand for a motion to approve 20. I'm saying,
2415.
yeah, 24/15. What?
Motion.
And I'll second that.
Okay. All those in favor, by saying aye.
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 All those opposed? Saying none. We move on to letter C, April 2024 AP check report. Procedure.
And that one, I really didn't even review. If you have any questions on it, we can answer them. But, they're all in compliance with our
Mr. Weber
policies.
just
For the
won
record,
that.
I sent in 2 questions. Anthony answered them,
Oh,
and thank you very much.
you're welcome.
Nice.
Very good, thank you.
It was only two.
Yes, ma'am.
It was last night at 10:30, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh,
Let's have a discussion. I think it was actually, but it's just 2.
so let me ask you, Mr. Madrid, on this AP checklist, I didn't go through it myself. I didn't have a chance. But is there anything of fines that we've been paying for late fines or penalties for water or gas or any utilities?
Not that I've seen. If there have been any, they're not significant because I only see all the big ones.
Okay. Thank you.
I don't remember seeing any either.
But
No late fees.
No late fees, yeah.
I'll consider that a directive to report to the committee if they come to.
Any other questions? I stand for a motion to approve the 2024 AP check report.
Also move.
Thank you. One second.
I'll second.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. Any other questions for our next meeting on June 17th at 2 p.m. And hopefully you'll be at the conference room. If not, I just have a small update for everybody. We're still working out of different offices. Everybody's still kind of scattered. Finance is over at the North Grand Avenue at City Hall, in the back buildings, and the economic development or community development buildings. We still have people at PD and the train depot and libraries and senior citizens and everywhere else. But we are trying to get back to City Hall. It'll probably be another, I would say, 2 to 3 weeks or so.
Okay.
You know, and they're supposed to be cleaning it up. We are still looking at other avenues. The Legion project is moving forward. They've opened up a section of it to Mullen from 7th Street over to Collins Drive. And they're working on from Collins to the schools. And they've done one overlay on that. They still have another one to do. It is a 5-inch mat on there. They still have some sidewalks to do. And they're working on the next section of it, which will be from the schools all the way to Grand Avenue. We did have a groundbreaking ceremonies over at the university.
Yeah.
That's, I think, another $2.8 million project. It will go from Grand Avenue to New Mexico Islands University on 8th Street and up if we have enough money up to the lights.
DOT
National.
sponsored that?
What's
Is
that?
Is DOT involved in?
DOT is paying a full 100% of that project. Yeah. They've been very kind to us. Mr. Walter Adams has been really supportive of the city and its projects. They were out there for the breaking ceremony. And there'll be sidewalk, ADA compliance, and tree removal on that project. But again, it's like everything else. It takes time, and when you do it right, it takes a little bit longer. So, I know my residents in my district and my ward are up to here with construction, but it's going to be worth it at the end of the day. We won't have to worry about it for another 30 years. So, my project on the gym didn't bring lighting with it because of funding, lack of funding. But I did bring sidewalks, ADA compliance, and drainage drop inlets. I think they added like 6 drop inlets in there for the water drain storm, and they extended the drain storm from Calle Dulce up to Sagebrush. So
Where's Sagebrush? I've heard that mentioned.
that's
Is
right
that-
below Collins.
Is that the alley there?
No, that's the housing.
Yeah, the
We
housing.
don't- Well, I think Don Fidel's the only alley we have named.
Okay, I'll have to
All
look
the other
more
alleys
carefully.
are not
There's
named.
Troya, there's Sagebrush, there's,
Okay, I'll have to look more carefully.
But it's all housing there in that area.
Yeah.
what,
Okay.
what about the intersection on Mills and New
North
Mexico
and south.
Avenue?
That one, they're still working on it. We are gonna look at funding for repaving the whole Hot Springs Boulevard on the near future. And Independence, they're still working on it, and New Mexico Avenue, they're done with that project. And
Yeah, like the intersection, I don't know if they were replacing.
yeah, that's been a headache. And then the one on Baca Street, that's
Yes.
drainage improvements, those are almost completed also. Again, they've taken some time. It's rough. I mean, everybody's suffering from not being able to obtain employees. So it's not an easy task. Then Desert Fox is from Albuquerque. So I guess they travel it back and forth every day. So yeah, but overall, we're moving forward. Friday first schools have started. Back up again. They had a Mother's Day concert Sunday, and the list goes on.
Yeah.
Look at the
Pretty full
website.
on Fridays when you pass by the plaza.
Oh yeah, it's back. You'll get 300, 400 people. And people enjoy it. It's free
It's
entertainment,
nice.
and it's nice for the business community. For gross seat tax. Yes, sir.
One quick question. Has anything happened with the cash reserves in terms of reinvesting it?
We have 2 preliminary steps that we've taken. The first one is that big amount that we got from FEMA came into the Bank of Las Vegas. We're participating in one of their programs where there's right there. There's basically 3 objectives. 2, protect it so that it's insured and earn as much as we can in the interim without coming up with this collaborative investment policy. So what was done, what's the name of this program?
Yes.
ICS. The money goes into the Bank of Las Vegas. I'm sorry, I'm old. Southwest Capital.
Yeah, okay.
And they hold it. However, because of the FDIC insurance level, 250,000, anything above 250,000, it's all in the same bank on the same account. It's only insured up to 250. So what they've done for us is they've taken it and distributed it to different banks to be at that $250,000 limit. But we negotiated with them in the interim, there's a 2.5% rate of return. And that's just set for the next 30 or 60 days. 30 days till we can actually, come up with a better plan. The second part to that is I've been in contact with the state treasurer's office to participate in the local government investment pool. They sent me all the paperwork to register. Those signatures are being completed. We have to have 3 different levels of authorization just to initiate it. Once we're participating, we can get online and transfer money on a daily basis if we want to. That is, it's not zero risk, but it's like 0.001 risk. They work within very strict parameters in the entire state investment pool. So the next decision will be what to put in there, what to keep locally, and what our cash requirements are going to be over the next months and year. And that's where we are with that.
And does that program have a couple levels of return based on how long money's been at
For the
there?
next 30 days, no, but we do have that option because obviously we're not going to spend $14 million in the next 6 months. So what we would, if we stay with this program, and to an extent we probably will, we would kind of graduate the maturity of these over 6 months, a year, year and a half, 2 years.
As you
Those things
estimate
will be
the
different.
need for that cash?
Exactly,
Okay.
exactly.
The state investment fund
Mhm.
for governmental agencies, does that have several levels? of-
No.
What do they pay?
You're in or out. They've been averaging around 5%.
Okay, so from a return standpoint,
Mhm.
that would be the better investment, is that
Yes.
correct?
Absolutely.
Okay, and is that your intent, is to try to get as much as you can there?
That would be my recommendation based on the needs. And our needs are not going to be immediate. And the fluidity of that program is that quick.
Oh,
So
really? That's-
why not?
Yeah. Yeah. No, that sounds actually pretty cool. Okay.
And Mr. Madrid, on that note, I'm gonna caution you and your staff that 5% ain't gonna last very long. It's gonna go away. Sooner or later, it's gonna go away and we're not gonna be able to take advantage of it. And I recommend we do take advantage of it as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that Crystal Circle? Anything
We
going on?
have an application and for some construction up there too. And the council already supported that and it's in the process. That would be for next year. I think, yeah.
Isn't that a CDBG application?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would qualify and everything.
And again, that project, I don't think it's gonna be fully funded because of the length of the project. But we'll have to break it down like we did on Mountain View. Mountain View, I think we broke it, and so far we've done 2 phases. We still need either a third or a fourth, or not a third, because it's such a long stretch. But it's expensive. I had to go back to Mayor and Council and ask him for $440,000 that we
Yeah.
adjusted on that region because, I mean, we were already there, so we were gonna do it, so might as well make it right and last.
That was the additional,
Yeah. And, 2.5 inches, I guess.
yeah, something like that. Okay.
Yeah.
And that came out of this year's general fund surplus?
Yes, sir.
That's right. Good.
Reserves.
Okay.
So
I
hopefully-
move that we adjourn.
Thank you.
Second.
Dinah? Mr. Franklin,
Yeah, that's-
all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, seeing none. We're adjourned. Thank you, Seth.
A record.
Is that a record?
Except for the one where somebody didn't show up and we never did even open up the meeting.
Wow, it's just a million questions ahead of time.
Yes.
The church.
Before at 10:30.
Yes, identify.
Just make sure you check.
Over this side of the.
You'll get it along.
Came up
I was on my
with
second
this.
review. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm sorry, the drive.
Oh, it is listed.
I never saw that.
Oh, okay.
With Catherine Duke.
Okay, good.
We're in the middle of a lot split.
of that?
Just boundary issues. We've spent a year straightening out the boundaries between those, but it's done almost.
Thank you, sir.
Get recorded. It's 5 acres in front and 20 acres behind.
Yes.
To go all together. So,
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
certainly, yeah, we do own that, yeah.
The church is looking to expand the,
Yep.
they're looking.
Where did you go?
We
Saturday.
placed for, to the 13th hole, I
You
think.
said it was too wet. I was
We
so-
were so wet.
It was
But it was
soaking
fun.
wet. Yeah, well, Ted's wife.
Mr. Moore.
Yes, sir.
Oh, was it?
Have you thought more about how to come up with a better, report? All I did was I take the numbers off your report. I put them